In our last video, we discussed the Dell XPS lightweight laptop, a highly regarded model built by a highly regarded company. And this is precisely why today we are going to talk about a very interesting newcomer, or should I say newcomers. Because today's newcomers are actually both the company and its laptop, Huawei. But the most important question is, will this model live up to the market's expectations? Because, let's be fair, its competition is ferocious and experienced. After having dabbled in the laptop manufacturing realm for just 4 years, can Huawei actually stand out against the big names? Stick around and let's find out what Huawei's MateBook 14 2020 has to offer. Well, meet MateBook 14 2020. And first, I like to point out something that's kind of surprising if you ask me. The laptop is as thin as the MateBook D14 AMD, but this time a much more powerful build hides under the hood. And things get really interesting here. I was blown away by the fact that MateBook 14 2020 retained the same chassis designed for the D14, as thin as 15.9mm, but replacing the rather old and weak 15 watts AMD Ryzen 5 3500U CPU with a hungrier fellow, a 45 watts AMD Ryzen 5 4600H. And they did it without altering the laptop's design. But some other things changed. We're talking about an additional cooler and a couple more heat pipes, which in turn made the model a little bit heavier. 1.5 kilograms from 1.4. It's the lesser evil, you see. Two rather generous exhaustion grills guard the backside of MateBook 14 2020. And boy, at this laptop's thinness, they really are generous. And because of this, the model stayed rather cool during the testing sessions. Throttle? Never heard of that in this case. Take this image for instance. After running the same multi-CPU script in Cinebench a dozen times, it never scored under 3.4 GHz, and although the temperature reached 98 degrees Celsius, the tiny AMD CPU lives up to its specs, running perfectly at up to 105 degrees. During rendering, both the temperature and the core's frequency stayed the same, including a constant energy consumption of 35-37 watts. All hail the 6 cores and 12 threads. Aside from that, the only thing that changed is the cooler's attitude. Back then they used to be kind of quiet at 30 decibels. Now they are a bit moody and vocal at 43. Nevertheless, they won't actually reach that level of rage and loudness my wife shifts into when I get on her nerves. Compared to gaming laptops, this MateBook, not my wife mind you, which can be really loud, around 50 decibels in full load, this one is like a purring kitty. But let's be thankful, the MateBook never went past 42 degrees Celsius in any circumstance, not even around the keyboard area. The bottom side is not prone to overheating either, so you can even place it on your lap while using it. Do mind, however, the fan's grid. We don't want to cover the only thing that stands between coolness and a third-degree burn, do we? The laptop attained more or less the same level of performance in all tests. From the first Cinebench R15 run, 1330 points, to the final exam, you can easily turn a blind eye to the slightly different numbers, 1282, 1263, numbers which persist even after 10 benchmark runs. I like to mention the CPU power as well. Ryzen 5 4600H did an amazing job in PC Mark 10 Extended, 4100 points, and that's just 20% less than a 3 or 4 times more expensive laptop, such as the XPS I've played with. Heads down to AMD and Huawei. Speaking about the chassis, it's important to note that even if MateBook 14 2020 is ridiculously affordable, the construction quality exceeded my expectations. Compared to other similarly priced laptops, which barely manage to offer an aluminum lid, this one is fully metallic, top, bottom, sides, around the keyboard, not a single area is spared. And the display, well, you're in for an awesome ride. High value, nice characteristics, elegance in brightness and contrast, you name it. There are several tiny details which really make the MateBook 14 stand out, ranging from accurate vivid colors with a surprisingly low delta E to some pretty awesome scores and traits. The display delivers way more than its actual price. We're not talking only about an approximate of 100% sRGB, 98% according to our SpiderX, but we are also blessed with a 400 nits brightness and a contrast ratio of 1240 to 1 with a black level of just 0.3. The IPS display keeps up with the modern standards, sporting a 2160 by 1440 resolution. Yes, it's that cool 3:2 near bezel-less design, as thin as 4.9mm. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a 90% display to frame ratio. Unfortunately, the top frame is a bit of a letdown when it comes to a webcam. Therefore, the webcam had to be placed way down, laying between the F6 and F7 keys. And it won't show up unless you press the specific key. Not a big deal, but once you turn the camera on, the angle will make you look goofy and weird. So your only solution is to wrestle with the laptop's position, or to use a laptop stand. Or you might as well just accept the fact that everyone's going to admire your nose hair. Another thing about the display, this model does not come with a touchscreen, but it does have a glass shield which can become pesky if the light falls from behind. Anyways, it came to my attention that some future models will introduce a touchscreen for the sake of touching. The default MateBook 14 is equipped with 16GB 2666 MHz of RAM in a dual-channel configuration. Moreover, the 500 NVMe Western Digital SSD works like a charm. Fast and reliable. No other words needed. Sure, I could use a 1TB variant, but 500 gigs, considering the affordable price, should suffice. If you're wondering about the GPU, I must tell you that we're dealing with integrated graphics, AMD Radeon Vega. Sorry folks, this one is not suitable for gaming. You just can't get a decent gaming experience with those 512 megs of VRAM. If you were to run Far Cry 5, all settings on low, on a crispy 1620 to 1080, it simply won't do. Sad news, but we make do with what we have. But don't be discouraged. MateBook 14 might not be good for gaming, but it's ideal for daily use, work, school, office, even photo, video editing and movies. All fine. Not to mention the audio setup, a bit voluminous but lively. The bass is almost non-existent, but who cares? You can still enjoy Netflix or blast some music on YouTube. The laptop's battery life is a plus. After what seems to have been an eternity, the modern office test finally managed to drain the battery. And bear in mind, the brightness had been set on 120 nits, past the usual 100 nits we set when testing the battery life. See for yourself, 11 hours and 30 minutes. Perhaps one of the best scores we've ever got. The battery might be a slightly better than average 56 Wh, but bear witness, for it greatly helps you when needed. Also, the 65 watts charger seems more like one designed for a phone, and the charging process is delivered through a nice Type-C port. The MateBook 14 has two Type-A USB ports, one HDMI port and an audio jack, meaning it covers the daily work's basic necessities. And this is because of the laptop's ergonomic design as well. The keyboard is really nice and intuitive, and the keystroke is perfectly balanced. You'll encounter some weak feedback, which goes away if you press the keys a little harder. As you can see, we have a silent keyboard except for the spacebar, obviously with a lightning-fast keystroke. This is greatly boosted by the perfect size of the keys and the distance between them, which made me feel like we had become best buddies. I almost brushed aside the microscopic arrow keys on it. Almost. The screen has a generous wide folding angle, and the large touchpad conveys precision. The right and the left click are executed at the bottom side of the touchpad, since it lacks dedicated buttons. Theoretically, you can traditionally double-click as well, but you'll have to press harder. Nevertheless, the double tap is the quickest, most logical way to do it. I hope you've saved room for dessert, because we present you with a multi-screen collaboration. If you look at this image, you'll notice an Android-based video game running on the right window, so I can pretty much play on the right side while solving the more important tasks on the left side. All of this thanks to the PC Manager app and the Huawei Share service. The only thing left to do is to make sure you have an NFC-compatible Huawei smartphone. Turn the NFC on and hover the phone over the touchpad. Once the devices are synchronized, you're free to leave the phone aside. Even further if you turn the Bluetooth on. Basically, you've just turned your laptop into a smartphone. But there's more to it. I was really impressed by the ability to simply drag and drop an image stored on my phone directly into the photo editing software running on one window. The clipboard is synchronized as well, among other cool features which used to be just some sci-fi story a few years ago. Take this for example. You can play a video on your phone while the sound is coming from the laptop speakers. This is more than just synchronizing, we're witnessing the birth of an ecosystem. To sum up, it's simply a marvelous Best Buy. I was taken aback by the specs of this laptop given its class range. With its AMD Ryzen 5 4600H, the MateBook 14 2020 represents a huge upgrade to D14's first 14nm AMD CPU. MateBook 14 offers a tough and fast system, huge battery life, respectable display, where the shiny glass shield is the only thing that deducts points from the max score. The price for such a gadget is roughly £750 or €800 or a bit past $900. Obviously, it's a best buy. But I can't leave you guys without asking for your opinions. How do you find the new MateBook 14 in terms of performance and price? Is it me or AMD is beginning to edge out Intel even when it comes to laptops? How about that 3:2 screen format? Because I can say for sure that it offers a much cleaner and larger workspace. It's not really the best at delivering a fancy cinematic experience because of that tedious aspect ratio in movies, but it's still something. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.